بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. يقول الإمام أحمد رحمه الله تعالى: ومن ترك الصلاة فقد كفر وليس من الأعمال شيء تركه كفر إلا الصلاة. من تركها فهو كافر وقد أحل الله قتله. قال رحمه الله تعالى: وخير هذه الأمة بعد نبيها أبو بكر الصديق ثم عمر ثم عثمان بن عفان. نقدم هؤلاء الثلاثة كما قدمهم أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم، لم يختلفوا في ذلك. ثم بعد هؤلاء الثلاثة أصحاب الشورى الخمسة: علي بن أبي طالب وطلحة والزبير وعبد الرحمن بن عوف وسعد، كلهم يصلح للخلافة وكلهم إمام. ونذهب في ذلك إلى حديث ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما. ثم من أصحاب الشورى أهل بدر من المهاجرين، ثم أهل بدر من الأنصار من أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم على قدر الهجرة والسابقة أول فأول. ثم أفضل الناس بعد هؤلاء أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم القرن الذي بعث فيهم. كل من صحبه سنة أو شهرا أو يوم أو ساعة أو رآه فهو من أصحابه، له من الصحبة على قدر ما صحبه، وكانت سابقته معه وسمع منه ونظر إليه نظرة فأدناهم صحبة وأفضل من القرن الذين لم يروه، ولو لقوا الله بجميع الأعمال. We have three big issues today actually. One, I think we're only going to be able to deal with two to give halfway justice to the first two. And we'll leave the next one for next week, inshallah. We'll finish the book next week, bi'idhnillah. And that's dealing with the Khawarij and how the Muslims are supposed to deal with their Imam, the leaders of their country. The 2 points that we come to today is the point that Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned, that the one who abandons the salah, he is a kafir. He disbelieved in Allah. And there are no actions and no deeds in Islam. If a person were to abandon them and to leave them off and not do them, there's no deed that he becomes a kafir other than the salah. So whoever abandons the salah, he's a kafir, and Allah has allowed for his blood to be spilled. As a had, he can be killed. And then after that he mentioned the next asl from the Usool of the Sunnah, and the best of this ummah after the Prophet ﷺ, the best human being, the best person from this ummah is Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, and then Umar, and then Uthman. We put forth those three because the companions used to put forth those three. And the companions didn't have any ikhtilaf between themselves about the superiority and the virtues of those three, radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. He said after those three, the best of this ummah are the companions, or the five who took place of the shura. They were the ones who the Prophet ﷺ used to consult them. In addition to the first three, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, they're the best. And then after them, the next five who are from the Ashab al-Shura, who the Nabi ﷺ will ask for their consultation. What's your opinion? And then he mentioned those five. He said that it was Ali ibn Abi Talib, Talha, az-Zubayr, Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, and Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. He said all of them, all of those three, they were qualified to be the Khalifa. Not just Abu Bakr and Uthman, but Ali was qualified to be the Khalifa. Talha was qualified. Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, az-Zubayr was qualified. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, all of them could have been the Khalifa. He went on to say, we see all of them as being imams, leaders. And the reason why we take this position is because of what Abdullah ibn Umar used to say. Abdullah ibn Umar used to say in an authentic hadith and statement to Abdullah ibn Umar, and it has the hukum of al-rafa. Although the Prophet didn't say it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it has the ruling that the Prophet said it. He said, Abdullah ibn Umar, we the companions, while the Prophet was living, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in his presence, he used to hear it, he used to see it. And the companions were many. And we used to say amongst ourselves that the best of this ummah is Abu Bakr, and then Umar, and then Uthman, and then we would be quiet. And we wouldn't say Ali. That's why Imam Ahmad mentioned that. He said, and then in terms of superiority, after the first three, Abu Bakr and Uthman, and then the five of the Shura, then after them, he said the best of this ummah are the people who were part of the Shura from Ahl Badr, from the Muhajirin. And then after them, the people of Badr from the Ansar. And then after them, he said, we look at who's the best in accordance to who made hijrah first and who became a Muslim first. He said, anyone who was a companion of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam for a year, for a month, or a day, or just for an hour, or he saw him, then that constitutes him as being a companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa ala alihi wasallam. And lastly, he said, if anyone comes after them with all of the good deeds in the dunya, that individual will never be able to reach any of those companions, radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. These 2 points today, especially the second point, are extremely important and critical points, no doubt. The Usool of the Sunnah, the foundations of the Aqeedah and the theology of Al-Hadith, Ahl-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah, the Muslims who are trying to tread the path of the Sirat al-Mustaqim. We just prayed and we asked Allah Azza wa Jalla, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. Guide us to the Sirat al-Mustaqim. Is that just kalam that we parroted off? What is the meaning of the Sirat al-Mustaqim when you pray? Guide us to the Sirat al-Mustaqim means guide us to the way of the companions. That's what it means. First and foremost, that's the Sirat al-Mustaqim. It means guide us to Islam, it means guide us to Ikhlas, it means guide us to Al-Iman, it means guide us to Tawheed, all of that. There's no tanaqat, there's no contradiction. But the number one meaning of the Sirat al-Mustaqim, the Sirat al-Mustaqim is what those companions were upon in their Islam, in their Iman, in their Tawheed, and so forth and so on. So, from the Usool of the Sunnah is to believe anyone who abandons the prayer, he has become a disbeliever. Now it's important to understand that Imam Ahmad put this issue, although abandoning the prayer is a fiqh issue, it's not an issue of Aqeedah. It's not an issue of Aqeedah at all. But Imam Ahmad wants to highlight the position of as-Salat in al-Islam, because this issue is an issue of ikhtilaf between the scholars. And both sides have proofs. And we have to be balanced when we find there's a proof to support his side and there's a proof to support his side. We have to know the etiquette of differing. Now, sometimes in these books, some of the scholars, when they write books like this, they would bring fiqh issues. And the reason why they would bring fiqh issues is because people of innovation in that fiqh issue, they would reject what the hadith was in that issue. For an example, you'll find the scholars of the Sunnah saying, from the Usool of the Sunnah is believing that you can wipe over the socks. That's a fiqh issue. And the reason why they said that is because the Rafidah, the Shia, who cursed the companions, they don't believe in the permissibility of wiping over the socks, wiping over the khufs. So those scholars will bring that fiqh issue just to say, we want to be different from those people. This is not the case with this leaving and abandoning the salah. This is not the case. Some of the scholars, one of the great scholars of Islam, he had a madhab for himself, Imam Sufyan Ath Thahabi. Sufyan ibn Masruq, ibn Sa'id ibn Masruq Ath Thahabi, he had a madhab, he was Amir al-Mu'minin in hadith. The man came to him and asked him, Ya Sufyan, tell me what is the Aqeedah of Islam? I can state that to Allah Yawm al-Qiyamah, and I can say, Sufyan al-Thawri told me that. He said to him a number of things. One of the things he said was, you have to believe that covering up and hiding Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is better than saying it out loud. That's a fiqh issue. But the reason why he mentioned that in a book like this, Sufyan al-Thawri, is because the people of innovation used to not see, they used to insist that every time you read, you have to read Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim out loud because it is an ayah from the Al-Quran. The point here is, this issue of salah is an issue of ikhtilaf. And Imam Ahmad's opinion was, any Muslim who abandons salah is a kafir. Even if he abandoned the salah and he believed that it was wajib, he was just lazy. He said anybody who abandons salah, he's a disbeliever in Allah Azza wa Jalla. And that's because, as I mentioned, Ikhwani, there's some proof for that. And on the other hand, some major scholars, the Sunnah, the Hadith, they took the other position. Every scholar said abandoning the salah is kufr. But if a person leaves the salah because he's lazy, because he's negligent, then this person is falling into an action of kufr, but he's not a disbeliever. He can be punished for it, but he's not a disbeliever. So we have to be balanced in this issue. Those who said that abandoning the salah was kufr, they use a number of adillah. Now is not the time or the place to deal with all of that. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَإِن تَابُوا وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ فَإِخْوَانُكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ. If the kuffar of Quraysh or any kuffar disbelievers, if they make tawbah and they leave shirk and kufr, if they make tawbah and come to Islam with the shahadatain, and they establish salah and give zakat, then they are your brothers. So you understand from this ayah, the mafhum al-mukhalif, if they don't establish the salah, then they're not your brothers. They're kuffar. They're outside of the deen. Yawm al-Qiyamah, the ayah of the Quran said that some of the people will be in the hellfire, will be asked, why did they enter into the hellfire? Why are you people down here? They will say, لَمْ نَكُنْ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ, because we didn't pray. So that's a proof that these people are disbelievers, because they were in the hellfire because they left off the salah. It didn't say that they left off all of the salah. It didn't say that they left off salah out of negligence or laziness. It said because they abandoned the salah, they were in the hellfire. So those ulama use those ayat of the Quran, and there are quite a few. You can't just push them away. They are there. They are there. فَخَلَفَ مِن بَعْدِهِمْ خَلْفٌ أَضَاعُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَاتَّبَعُوا الشَّهَوَاتِ. Allah mentioned, there used to be some people who were righteous, and then after them came some people who abandoned the salah and they followed their desires. As a result of that, they're going to be in the hellfire. And then you have the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that supports this position. Strong hadith. The Nabi told us sallallahu alaihi wasallam, بين العبد والكفر بين العبد والكفر ترك الصلاة. The difference between a person being a Muslim and a disbeliever is if he leaves the salah. Another hadith said, قال صلى الله عليه وسلم العهد الذي بيننا وبينهم الصلاة من تركها فقد كفر. The difference between us and them is the salah. Anyone who leaves it, he's a kafir. Nobody can come now and say, no, he's not a kafir. That hadith is clear. The difference between Muslims and non-Muslims is the salah. Whoever abandons it is a disbeliever. The Prophet didn't say in the hadith, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whoever abandons it, laziness, whoever abandons it out of negligence. He didn't say that. It's a general statement. He, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, would travel, and when he was traveling, he would see a group of people in a village, in a land. He don't know those people. He doesn't know ilm al-ghayb. He's not hazir nazir down there and here at the same time. He would say to the companions, let's wait until Fajr. If we hear the adhan, we'll leave them. If we don't hear the adhan, we're going to go and we're going to get them. So those scholars of Islam took this position to abandon the salat is kufr. To abandon the salat is kufr. Some of the great ulama of the past took that position from them, and Imam Ahmad, he was strong on this, and you'll find this is the position of many of the Hanabila, back then and right now. During our time, some of the great scholars of Islam were on the Sunnah. Sheikh Abdullah ibn Abdul Aziz ibn Baz was on that position. Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih ibn Uthaymeen, he was on that position. Those scholars are scholars from the Sunnah back then and now. And you have the right to take this position. You have that right. The other position that the scholars said, no, they're not kuffar. Because there are a number of ayat and a number of hadith that show that yes, the salat and abandoning this kufr, but maybe a person will do it, but he's not a kafir. And from them is the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. Allah won't forgive that you make shirk with Him, but He'll forgive everything other than that. So abandoning the salat is not shirk, especially if the person is doing it out of negligence, and they have their dalil. We're not going to deal with this issue and try to figure out what's the strongest position. And Imam Ahmad, he said, Ikhwani, there's nothing from the deeds that leaving it off and abandoning it is considered kufr other than abandoning the salat. The reason why he said that gives the people who say that abandoning the salat is kufr and you're kafir if you don't pray, it's one of the strongest proofs, is what a man said. He was from the tabi'een. His name is Abdullah ibn Shaqiq al-Uqayli. He met many of the companions. قال ما كان أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يرون شيئا من الأعمال تركه كفر غير الصلاة. The companions did not consider anything that if you leave it alone is kufr other than the salah. So if the salat al-mustaqim is the way of the companions, then the companions used to say, if you leave the salat, you're kafir. That's a strong position. That's a strong position. But one of the reasons why it's difficult to accept that position intellectually is, we would say that the majority of the Muslims are kuffar today. Because most of us, and I don't know most of your names, but this is an educated guess, the condition of the Muslims today, most of the people who are connected to us, brothers, sisters, mother, fathers, uncles, cousins, neighbors, most of the Muslims don't pray. 5 times every day, 365 times a year. Most of the Muslims don't pray. Our children in the university, some of them don't pray at all. The child hits the age of 10, he becomes 11, 13, he doesn't pray at all. And I think everybody sitting in this audience knows someone who's really close to him who doesn't pray. It could be the mother, it could be the father, it could be your brother, it could be your sister, it could be your wife. They don't pray. And then those who do pray, we pray some prayers and we don't pray others. There are some people who never pray Fajr, ever, on time. Some people, they miss all of the prayers and they make them up. So the condition of the salat is a big mushkila. And this is what makes it difficult to accept that side, that position. Is it ma'qul, is it conceivable that the majority of the people on the face of the earth who consider themselves to be Muslims are kuffar in reality? They're not even Muslims. It's hard to consider. But as I told you, if the companions knew that you didn't pray, they said that you were a kafir. If you didn't fast, and the companions knew you didn't fast, they said maybe he's sick, maybe something happened. If you didn't make hajj, they said maybe this, maybe that. If you didn't give zakat, maybe this, maybe that. If you didn't go to jihad, maybe this, maybe that. They made excuses. But if they knew this person doesn't pray, they said he's a kafir, he's a munafiq. And that's a really strong dalil. That's why he mentioned that, rahimahullah ta'ala. Last thing about this issue, Imam Ahmad, he said, Allah has made his blood permissible to spill. He can be killed. The ulama concerning this issue, they have ikhtilaf as well. How should he be killed? We have to make this clear because the people are always trying to misconstrue our words. Those people from the media and the kuffar, the police and the politicians, they want us to apologize about Allah's religion. And we're not going to apologize. We're going to tell the way the religion is. In the deen of Allah, apostasy, there's a had, you're killed for leaving your religion. That's what Allah made his religion. That's the religion of Islam. In Islam, if you abandon the salah, the ulama said, you're kafir. Now, how should he be killed? Should he be given an opportunity where they say for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 3 days, hey, come back to salah. And if the person insists and persists, I'm not praying, then they kill him. They have ikhtilaf, what should be done. So Imam Ahmad said he should be killed. Let it be known that I'm not saying if your child doesn't pray or your neighbor doesn't pray, you can kill him. I'm not telling anybody that here. I gave a talk the book of Imam Ath Thahabi, Kitab al-Kaba'ir. When we came to the major sin of homosexuality, may Allah protect us from that. They're about to put lessons of homosexuality in the school books right now. They're going to show in the school book a picture of a man with another man raising the child. We better wake up and we better do something about it. We better say something about it and not be embarrassed that they're going to deport us. They want to look at us as radicals. Our children are going to be exposed to that. And we have every right to say, this is an abomination. We're against it. We don't call to hurting homosexuals, breaking the law, but we say homosexuality is not natural, it's nasty. And in the religion of Islam, it's filth. Kuffar say that from the Jews and the Christians. Anyway, the point here is, gave a talk a long time ago when I first came to this country, Kitab al-Kaba'ir. When we came to homosexuality, we explained the ayat of the Qawm Lut, what they did. We explained the ahadith of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Uqtulu al-fa'il wal-maf'ul bihi. Kill the one who's doing it and kill the one who's being done to. That's our religion. Ayat and hadith. Then I mentioned what the book said, Kitab al-Kaba'ir, that the scholars had ikhtilaf, what should be done. That's what the book said. The book said that Ali ibn Abi Talib and Abdullah ibn Abbas said, the homosexual, if he's caught doing that in Islam, in the Islamic State, he should be thrown off of a mountain because of the ayah in the Quran that Allah Ta'ala took the land, Jibril took the land and smashed them. So it's as if the land is going to smash them. I read the book. These people are still saying in the BBC, just recently, they're still saying the radical Imam Abu Usamah was calling for the murder of homosexuals. So I have to say right here, Imam Ahmad said his blood is permissible to be spilled, it can be killed. I'm not telling anybody here. You know someone who doesn't pray, you can go and kill him. So let that be very clear. Last thing about this issue, and this is really important point, Ikhwani, extremely important. That is, this is an issue of a bona fide ikhtilaf. Bona fide ikhtilaf. Proofs on this side, proofs on that side. The person who says, the one who abandons the salah is a kafir, I don't see that as the ruling. So I can't call him, you're from the Khawarij, you make takfir of the Muslims. I can't say that to him. We're going to deal with the Khawarij next week, inshallah. And they're a group of people who were present during the time of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They started and they've been here since. Right now, they're on the face of the earth. Right now. They're the people who go against the ruler. They're the people who kill the Muslim ruler. They're the people who make the ittirab in the Muslim countries by doing all of the craziness that some of them do. In Somalia and all over the world. In Yemen, all over the world. They're in London, they're in New York, all over the world. When you don't agree with them, they'll kill you. They'll say you're a kafir. If you do something that has been described as kufr in al-Islam, there are certain things that were described as kufr in Islam. If you do that, they say you're kafir. The girl doesn't wear hijab, she's a kafir. Maybe the person, the girl marries a person who's a Jew or Christian. They'll say she's a kafir. She made halal what Allah made haram. And they give wholesale takfir, khawarij. The one who says, the person who abandons the salah is a kafir, you can't say that he's from the khawarij. That would be dhulm, because that position is a strong position with dalil. Also, on the other hand, the person who says, the one who abandons the salah out of laziness and negligence, he's not a kafir. You, the one who believes this kufr, can't say you're from the murji'ah. The murji'ah, we dealt with them already. We dealt with some of the opinions. They are the people who say all you have to do is say La ilaha illallah and you're mu'min kamilul iman. Just say La ilaha illallah, you don't have to pray, you don't have to make salat, you don't have to give zakat, you don't have to make hajj, umrah, no hijab. They just say Islam is in my heart, that's it. I just say it with my tongue and that's it. That was a deviant group. So they're two extreme. Khawarij, extreme, murja, extreme. If a person takes this position or that position, he can't accuse the other side of anything. He can't accuse the other side of anything. So this issue, Imam Ahmad saw it as a serious issue. to abandon the salat, he saw it as being from the Usool of the Sunnah. How are you going to be a Muslim full stop if you don't pray? Umar radiallahu anhu, he said, "Man la salata lahu, fala iman lahu." Anyone who doesn't pray, he doesn't have any iman. He's not even a Muslim at all. And Allah Ta'ala is the most knowledgeable. I would advise you. There's a book Nasruddin al-Albani wrote. It's in Arabic. It's called Hukum Tarat as-Salah. He brings the dalil for the people who say they're not kuffar, and there are a lot of dalil. It's a good book. You should get the book. Another one, Sheikh Muhammad ibn Uthman, Muhammad ibn Salih Uthaymeen, also got a book, Hukum Tarat as-Salah. He brings their side of the story. And the one that's in between, showing both sides, is the book by the Sheikh Abu Hassan al-Ma'rabi. The book is called Sabil al-Najat fi Hukum Tarat as-Salah, and he brings everybody's proofs, and he leaves it up to you to decide. And there are other books. The famous book by Imam Muhammad ibn Nasr al-Marwazi, who lived a long time ago in the 300s. He has a book as well called Ta'zeem Qadr as-Salah, the greatness of the Salah, in which he deals with this issue. And Allah knows best. Now we come to the second issue, Ikhwani, and this is one of the most important issues of the whole book, as we mentioned to you before, because it was part of the first point that Imam Ahmad opened up his book, and he's talking here about the virtues and the superiority of some of the companions over one another. So this is different from what the beginning of the book. At the beginning of the book, he said, the very first fundamental, a Muslim being on the Sunnah, being a real Muslim, on the right path, is that he holds on to, in his religion, what the companions held on to, and he tries to imitate them. Yawm al-Qiyamah, when Allah Azza wa Jalla raises the people up from this ummah, if the people were practicing the religion that Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali were practicing, the person is going to be okay. If the person is doing something that those companions were not doing, and they had the ability to do it in the aqidah, in the ibadat, in the mu'amalat, the person is doing something else, no matter how good it sounds and no matter how good it feels, no matter how many people are doing it, if the companions didn't do that thing, the person is in trouble. I want to repeat and reiterate this point. It's just an example. The Prophet's birthday, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we are not against it because there's no good in it, or the idea doesn't make sense. Not because of that. The main reason why we're against the Prophet's birthday is the companions didn't do it. It's as simple as that. That's the meaning of this first point. It's not the person saying, I'm saying that issue doesn't have a good idea behind it. We should take some time out to celebrate the birth of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. No, it's not that. That's not the point. We can discuss that. Should it be done? Should it not? Is it intellectually sound? We can discuss that. But even before that discussion, if the Prophet's companions didn't do that thing, then it's not going to be accepted Yawm al-Qiyamah. No matter what you say of why it should be done, no matter what you come up with, because the simple fact is, you are not going to precede the companions to some form of ibadah, some form of celebration that they didn't know about. No, it's not possible. So Imam Ahmad brought that as the first thing, that the way of Islam is following the companions. And we talked about why and the proofs of that and so forth and so on. Now he's talking now about, from the way of the people of the Sunnah, is that we have to see all of the companions are not equal. All of the people in this room are not equal. All of the prophets, salawatullah wa salamu alayhim ajma'een, they're not equal. All of the malaika, they're not equal. All of the books that Allah Azza wa Jalla sent down right now, they are not equal. This book is muhaymin over the other books. So Allah Ta'ala, He chooses how He wants to choose, and He gives superiority to whoever He wants to give it to. All of the places in the earth are not equal. Mecca, Al-Medina, Bayt al-Maqdis, Ash-Sham, Al-Yemen, Egypt, all of those places, something has been said in the Quran or the Sunnah about them. They're not like the UK. So in this issue, all of the companions are not equal. We have to believe that. Why did he mention this? He mentioned this because, again, some people were enemies to the companions. Those people are Al-Iraq and Al-Iran. Some people like them are in Yemen. Some people like that in Pakistan. Some people in Afghanistan, in Bangladesh. Some of them are there in Ash-Sham, the Nusayriya. People who cursed some of the companions. They accepted some and they hated others. And the ones who they were hating were better than the ones that they were accepting. So this is what Imam Ahmad is saying. And why is he saying it? Why is he saying it? Because he's from Baghdad and he's an Arab and he's just making it up? No, because the Quran and the Sunnah, it says that we all have to be upon that issue. So he mentions, the best of this ummah after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have to believe this, Abu Bakr, Umar and Uthman, and they used to stop. The companions wouldn't say anything after those three. And the reason why he said, they used to say, Abdullah ibn Umar used to say, we used to say this, and the companions were allowed, was to show the people who came after them, the companions, if they agree on something, then that's from the religion. One of the sons of Ali ibn Abi Talib, his name is Muhammad al-Hanafiya, when he heard this statement from Abdullah ibn Umar, that the best of the ummahs, Abu Bakr, Umar and Uthman, he went to Ali, his father, and he said to his father, Ya Abi, Abdullah ibn Umar, he said that the best of the ummah after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my grandfather, the best of this ummah, Abu Bakr, and then Umar, and then Uthman. He said, so Abi, I want to ask you, are they better than you? Ali said, yes. He said, yes, they're better than me. Ali himself, he acknowledged that. He's from the ulama al-Islam. And then after those three comes the others. Each one of them has his virtues. The lady came and said, Ya Rasulullah, if you die, what should I do? Who should I ask after you? Out of all of your companions, who should I go to? He told her, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, iqtadi billadhini min ba'di. Look for the two who come after me, Abu Bakr and Umar radiyallahu anhuma. The Nabi used to always say, I believe, Abu Bakr and Umar, he believes. Anything that happened, when Tamim al-Dari saw the Dajjal, and he came and told Rasulullah the story, no one saw that, no one was there, the Nabi wasn't Hazar Nazir, so Tamim al-Dari, the companion, told him, Ya Rasulullah, we saw him, he was tied up, it was big, it was scary, he said this, he said that, and he told him, he said, okay, hold on, make the adhan. When the people came, he said, tell them the story. He told them the story. After he finished the story, Rasulullah said, Wallahi, I believe what he said, and Abu Bakr and Umar believes it. That shows their virtues. The other man, he was a shepherd, ra'i. He had some sheep. The wolf took his sheep. He hit the wolf, beat the wolf up, took his sheep back, and the sheep didn't die. He said that the wolf sat up on his tail, and the wolf said, what are you going to do Yawm al-Qiyamah? You took away from me my rizq. What are you going to do Yawm al-Qiyamah when no one will be there to help? And the wolf started talking. The man came and told the Nabi, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told me from the people, he said, Wallahi, one of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah is that the wild animals are going to speak. He said, I believe his story, Abu Bakr and Umar believes it. He used to say, I came, Abu Bakr and Umar came. I went, Abu Bakr and Umar went. He says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Abu Bakr wa Umar kuhul, sayyida kuhul, ahl al-jannah, min al-awwaleen wal-akhirin, illa min al-mursaleen wal-mundirin. Abu Bakr and Umar, they will be the best people in the Jannah. From the first people and the last people, the only people who will be better than them in the Jannah are the prophets and the messengers, the warners, that's it. So that goes to show those two are the best. Amr ibn al-As came, he said, Ya Rasulullah, who do you love the most? He said, Aisha. He said, no, from the women, from the men. He said, then her father, Abu Bakr, is the best, I love him the most. So the Nabi married his daughter, and he was the one who helped Rasulullah. He was the one who made the hijrah with Rasulullah. As you know, That's why he was the first Khalifa, because he was the best of the companions. Him and Umar had a disagreement, had a fight, had an argument. The Prophet ﷺ said, Hal antum tariku li sahibi, why don't you people leave my companion alone? When I came to you people and I said, say la ilaha illallah, all of you said I was a liar. He said I was telling the truth, and he helped me with his money, and he supported me. No one did what Abu Bakr did, radiyallahu anhu. No one did what the Prophet ﷺ's friend Abu Bakr as-Siddiq did for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As for Umar, his virtues, why did the companions choose him after? Why? Why did they choose him after Abu Bakr? Because Abu Bakr told them, choose Umar. I'm telling you, Umar is the Khalifa after me. That's number one. Number two, the Prophet said, Ya ibn al-Khattab, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ ما لقيك الشيطان سالك فجا إلا سلك فجا غير فجك. Hey Umar, I swear by Allah, Shaitan never sees you walking down the street except that he takes another street other than your street. لو كان نبي بعدي لكان عمر. If there was a Nabi after me, it would have been Umar. After Abu Bakr was about to die, he said Umar is the Khalifa after me. Then Umar radiallahu anhu, when he died, he said, Uthman is the Khalifa after me. And none of the Muslims made any mudaharat. None of the Muslims had a problem with, demonstrations, this and that. That's what the leader said, and that's what they did, radiallahu anhu. But of course they had dalil for what they were saying. The Prophet said about Uthman radiallahu anhu, Ala astahi min rajulin tastahi minhu al-malaikatu. Shouldn't I be shy of a man who the malaika are shy of him? He's the only human being that we know of who married two daughters of a Nabi. He married Prophet Muhammad's two daughters, Ruqayya, and what's the other one? Zainab. Ruqayya and Kulthum. Radiyallahu anhum ajma'een. And then the companions were quiet. They didn't say Ali. So why did Ali come in after that? This is one of the reasons, Ikhwani, why there was tumultuous situation during the Khilaf of Ali. When it was time for Ali to become the Khalifa, some of the companions, they wanted to get the people who killed Uthman, who they all agreed was the third best one from amongst them. It wasn't so crystal clear with Ali. It wasn't crystal clear the way it was crystal clear with Abu Bakr and Uthman. No one said he's going to be the Khalifa after me. But he had a lot of virtues. A lot, no doubt. The Prophet was about to go in to make jihad, and Ali was with him for every jihad. Ali was the first person to embrace Islam. He was the first person to pray behind Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the first one to make salat behind the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet said, you're not going to make jihad with me. He said, why? He said, I'm going to leave you over the people of Medina. You're responsible for the people of Medina. You're going to be my Amir in Al-Medina. Ali didn't like that. He wanted to go and make jihad. Wanted to be with the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet asked him a question, Ala tarda an takun bimanzilat Harun min Musa illa annahu la nabiyya ba'di. You know how Harun was to Musa? Harun was the wazir of Musa. Do you want to be like that with me? You want to be my wazir? You're going to be my wazir. Except there's no Nabi. You can't be a Nabi. Harun was a Nabi after Musa. You can't be a Nabi after me. So the Rasul sallallahu, he said that Ali was similar to him, the way Harun was to Musa. And Ikhwani, if you were to gather up all of the virtues of the companions, each and every companion, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, if you gathered up all of the virtues of Ali, he has more hadith talking about his virtues than any other companion. Keep it in mind, the virtues of Hassan and Hussein, they go back to him because the child is from the father. The child is from the father. The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and walid min sa'i abihi. The child is from the efforts of his father. Everybody sitting here, your salat, your parents going to get some part of it if they were Muslims and they died in Islam. Your children are going to bless you and Your grandfather, great-grandfather, they're going to get the rewards and they're dead. And they're going to get the rewards because they gave each generation the salah. So all of the virtues of Hassan and Hussein, they go back to Ali. And that's why some of the scholars did say Ali was the best companion. But that wasn't the position of the companions, radiyallahu anhu ajma'in. And Imam Ahmad mentioned those 3, and then those 5, and the 8 of them are part of the 10 who were promised Jannah. The 8 that he mentioned, the 5 that he mentioned, Ali was the Khalifa. He said Zubayr could have been the Khalifa. Talha could have been the Khalifa. Abdurrahman ibn Auf could have been the Khalifa. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas could have been the Khalifa. All of them were Imams. So the companions are not the same. The Prophet, he told the people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, showing that the ones who came into Islam quicker, they get more reward than the people who came into Islam later on. That's an ayat of the Quran. Allah Ta'ala mentioned السابقون الأولون من المهاجرين والأنصار والذين اتبعوهم بإحسان رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه. Those people were first in Islam, from the Muhajirin and from the Ansar. والسابقون السابقون أولئك المقربون في جنات النعيم. The people who were uppermost and they were first, they're the ones who are going to be close to Allah Azza wa Jalla in the Jannah, and they're the ones who are going to get the best places in the Jannah. Allah mentioned in the Quran that those people who spent before the Hijrah, they're not like the people who spent after the Hijrah. So they're not the same. Khalid ibn Walid, he embraced al-Islam after Mecca was conquered. Abu Sufyan, he embraced Islam after Mecca was conquered. So they're not like those companions who embraced Islam before the Hijrah. He's not like them. He's not like the ones who embraced Islam before the conquest of Mecca, Fath of Mecca. So there are distinctions between them. The people of Badr, the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah looked at the deeds of the people of Badr and he said to them, do whatever you want to do, I've forgiven you. And that's because they were the first people to fight the first war in Islam, where they were only 310 people and the Kuffar had over 1,000 people. The Muslims didn't have a lot of weapons, but they went out there and they fought that first serious battle. As a result of that, Allah told them, you're from Badr, do whatever you want. The Prophet was approached by Jibreel, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhima. Jibreel said, Ya Muhammad, what is your opinion about the companions, your companions who participated in Badr? The Prophet said, they are the best of this ummah. Jibreel said, also the Malaika who participated in Badr are from the best of the Malaika. So the Malaika are equal, the Anbiya are not equal, and the companions of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam are not equal. Lastly, ikhwani, last 2 points, inshallah, want to get you to really understand this point that we're on right now. No matter what a person does, if he was not a companion, no matter what he does, he can never reach the level of a companion, no matter what he does. The companion, being a companion, the suhbah, is the best thing that can happen to an individual in this religion. It puts him above everybody else, no matter what you did. So remember this point. The Mahdi, when he comes back, he's going to put peace in the earth. If the Mahdi came back right now, all of the fitna in Egypt, Syria, Somalia, Afghanistan, and Iraq, America, all of the dhulm that's going on, all of this drama, the Mahdi is going to put everything right by Allah's permission. And there's going to be justice in the earth and peace in the earth. And he's from the Ahlul Bayt. If he comes back and he puts peace and rectifies everything else, he's not like the companion. I'm not talking about Abu Bakr and Uthman. I'm talking about the companion who made zina. May Allah be pleased with all of them. I'm talking about the companion who urinated in the masjid, Some companions did not have a lot of knowledge. They were just Bedouins in the desert. They didn't get a lot of knowledge. But because they were a companion, and a companion is a person who met the Prophet, believed in him, and died with Imam. Even if you only met him for 1 hour, for 1 day, 1 month, 1 year, doesn't have to be with him for 23 years, 10 years, 13 years. So the Mahdi can't compete with the lowest companion. The companions are not equal. There's a companion, he's a Bedouin, he doesn't know a lot. Another companion drank khamr. Another companion committed zina and was stoned to death. And that's because Allah is pleased with all of them, and they're going to be in the Jannah. And the Nabi told the people, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لو أن أحدكم أنفق مثل لا تسبوا أصحابي فوالذي نفسي بيده لو أنفق أحدكم مثل أحد ذهب ما بلغ مد أحدهم ولا نصيف. None of you will be able to catch up to what one of my companions did. It's not possible. It will never happen. So they're the best of this ummah. As a result of that, the scholars, they wrote. And Imam al-Bukhari, in Sahih Bukhari, there's a book in there, a chapter called Fada'il as-Sahaba, the virtues of the companions. And Imam Muslim, Fada'il as-Sahaba. And Imam Ahmad, he has a book, 2 volumes by itself. 2 volumes by itself. It's called Fada'il as-Sahaba, where he brings all of the hadith about what the Prophet said about each and every one of them. Those scholars, Imam Ibn Hajar Asqalani, he wrote a book, 8 volumes. It's called Al-Isaba fi Tamyiz as-Sahaba, in which he brings the names of every companion, what they did, what she did, who were the children, and so forth and so on. And Imam Ibn Abdul Bar al-Maliki, he has the book Kitab al-Isti'ab. And Imam Ibn Athir, he has the book Usool al-Ghaba fi Asma as-Sahaba. Because we have a lot of Yemenis people in this masjid, Yemen had 5 scholars in the later times. I'm not talking about Abdul Razak al-San'ani. Way back then they had a lot of scholars. They had 5 scholars in the latter times. The dunya hasn't seen the likes of them, and Yemen surely didn't see the likes of them in the latter times, since the 7th, 8th century coming back. From them, first was the great scholar Imam Hamid Ibrahim al-Wazir. He wrote the book Al-Awasim min al-Qawasim, and defending the companions. After him was the great scholar Imam Salih al-Muqbari, scholar of the Sunnah, fought against the Shiite, spread the dawah of Islam and the Sunnah in Yemen. Many Yemenis don't even know who he is. After that, Al-Hasan al-Jalal. After that, someone more people know, his name is Al-Amir al-San'ani, who wrote the book Subul al-Salam. After him is Al-Imam al-Shawkani, Hamad ibn Ali al-Shawkani. And Imam al-Shawkani has a book called إرشاد الغبي إلى مذهب أهل البيت في صحب النبي, guiding the imbecile, guiding the stupid person to the madhab of Ahl al-Bayt concerning the companions of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He considered, Imam al-Shawkani used to be a Zaydi Shi'i, and he was a scholar of that madhab, but Allah guided him. He was affected by the dawah of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, who came before him. And then he started talking about we shouldn't make taqleed, and he raised up the position of the companions, and he wrote this book against the Zaydi of Yemen, and they made a lot of problems for him. The point is, the scholars of this religion, they took this position of protecting those companions. When anybody from your relatives, Muslims who you know, who are cursing the companions, you shouldn't see that as a light issue. And I'm not here teaching hatred and so forth like that. What I'm here is teaching the love that the Prophet deserves, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also our appreciation as Muslims. How are we going to be Muslims if the companions, radiallahu anhum, didn't play the role that they played? So it's from the integral parts of this religion to have love, honor, respect, and reverence for the companions of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We don't speak bad about them at all. What we do with them is we make dua for them. That's what Allah told us to do in the Quran. وَالَّذِينَ جَاءُوا مِن بَعْدِهِمْ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا اغْفِرْ لَنَا وَلِإِخْوَانِنَا الَّذِينَ سَبَقُونَا بِالْإِيمَانِ وَلَا تَجْعَلْ فِي قُلُوبِنَا غِلًّا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا رَبَّنَا إِنَّكَ رَءُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. We make dua for them. We say رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ. We make dua for them. And if we do mention the mistakes that they made, we mention those mistakes to make a point, not to put them down. The point is, she committed zina and she was flogged to death, and despite that, she's better than the man. That man over there, his name was Al-Himar, Abdullah, he drank khamr. They used to flog him in public. Despite drinking khamr and getting the had in public, he's better than the Mahdi. So we mention those things to show the point. We don't mention those things to put them down. But Aisha did this, and Ali did that, and we don't do that. That's from the way of the people who lies and giving them guidance. So we're going to stop here, inshallah ta'ala, next week. How many classes did we do now? Huh? 9. Next week, inshallah, will be the 9th class and the final class for this particular book. And Allah ta'ala is the most knowledgeable, and He is the most merciful. We have 2 minutes if you have any questions, inshallah. دقيقتين. Sheikh, dhikrullah.
How do you reconcile the ayah in the Quran that mentioned that Allah makes no distinction between any of the prophets and the statement that the prophets are equal?
Now, Ikhwani, there's a number of ayat in the Quran where Allah Ta'ala mentioned and described the believers. لَا نُفَرِّقُ بَيْنَ أَحَدٍ مِّن رُسُلِ. We don't make any distinctions between His messengers. That's what the ayat said. And the Prophet used to sallallahu alaihi wasallam say to the people, لَا تُفَضِّلُونِي عَلَى Musa. Don't make me better than Musa. And then at the same time, Rasulullah says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أَنَا سَيِّد بَنِي آدَمْ وَلَا فَخْرٍ. I'm the best of Adam's children. I'm the master. He said he's going to be in the maqam al-mahmud. وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَحَجِّدْ بِهِ نَافِلَةً لَكَ عَسَى أَن يَبْعَثَكَ رَبُّكَ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. That is the shafa'ah. Only Rasulullah will get it Yawm al-Qiyamah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So is there a contradiction? There's no contradiction. The meaning of the ayah is that the Jews and the Christians made distinctions between the prophets and the messengers. The Jews said, we believe in Musa, but Jesus is a bastard and Muhammad is a false prophet. The Christians said, we believe in Musa, we believe in Jesus, but Muhammad is a false prophet. So they accepted some and they rejected some. But the Muslims say, no, we believe in all of the prophets and all of the messengers. And we don't make any distinction. But we do make the distinction of who was more virtuous, who had more followers, Yawm al-Qiyamah. Allah Ta'ala has favored Bani Israel. وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَتِي الَّتِي أَنْعَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَأَنِّي فَضَّلْتُكُمْ عَلَى الْعَالَمِينَ. Bani Israel has been put over every other group of people other than the Muslims. And that's because they had so many prophets. So Musa's story in the Quran. Musa's story is mentioned more than any other prophet's story in the Quran. Isa's story is mentioned more than most of the prophets in the Quran. The 5 major prophets are not like the other ones. Yawm al-Qiyamah, a prophet will come, he'll have 3 to 9 followers. Another will come, he'll have 2 followers. Another will come, he has 1 follower. Another will come, he won't have any followers. The Nabi's community, sallallahu Muhammad, the majority of the Ahl al-Jannah from him. And then from Musa and Bani Israel. So the meaning of this, we don't make any distinction. We don't accept some and reject others. We don't raise our Nabi up and talk good about him and talk bad about others. We don't do that. We accept all of them and we believe in all of them. Now, my lastly, Aywa.
As you mentioned the Salah, you said if the person hasn't prayed a kafir, right? I heard a hadith says, Rasul says, there's Ummah coming after me, and they always say, La ilaha illallah, and they enter Jannah. So I was remember that, and then when I see a person, if he say La ilaha illallah, I could have called him a kafir. Because he believes.
What's your name, Umar? Umar, that's one of the strong hadith that the people who say he's not a kafir use. And Imam Ahmad narrated the hadith, it's an authentic hadith. Hudayfa or Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, I'm not sure, one of them said that the Prophet says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, يدرس الإسلام كما يدرس وش الثوب حتى لا يدرى ما الصلاة ولا الصيام ولا الزكاة ولا النسك ويسرى على كتاب الله تعالى في ليلة واحدة حتى لا يبقى في الأرض منه آية وتبقى من الناس طوائف الشيخ الكبير والعجوز يقولون لا إله إلا الله أدركنا آباءنا على هذه الكلمة. When Yom Qiyamah comes and Islam is going to fade away the way the thread, the embroidery fades away in the folds. We're gonna get weaker and weaker and weaker. So you don't even know what Islam is. And the people won't know Salah, people won't know Zakat, people don't even know fasting, people don't even know Hajj. And the Quran is going to disappear. And it's going to, in one night, there won't be any ayah in the Quran, in the earth. Not one ayah. And the only Muslims who will remain is an old man and an old woman. And they will say, La ilaha illallah. We heard our fathers saying it, and we're saying it. They didn't even understand it. And it's going to get them over. It's going to get them through. And they were not praying. The Prophet, he says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, khamsu salawatin katabahunna Allah ala al-ibad. فمن أتى بهن يوم القيامة كان له عهد عند الله لا يعذبه ومن لم يأتي بهن استخفافا بهن فهو تحت مشيئة الله إن شاء عذبه وإن شاء غفر له. 5 prayers, Allah made them wajib every day and night. You have to do it. Whoever does those 5 prayers, he'll have a contract with Allah not to punish him. And whoever comes and he's missing some, it's up to Allah to forgive him or to punish him. So those are proofs on the other side. It's one of those mas'alas. All you have to do is take your position and leave the people alone, like reading behind the Imam. Last question, Akhi. Gotta get to that bus, that train.
Okay,
we can do it. هذا وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.